Something big is happening to our online privacy. Right now, across the entire Western world, there's this fundamental shift going on, and it's all being done in the name of safety. But is that what it's really about? Let's take a closer look.
And it starts with these little super frustrating moments that I'm sure we've all felt, right? You're on an app you've been using for years, and bam, suddenly you're locked out. And it's asking you to prove who you are again. It just feels broken. It feels, honestly, kind of absurd.
And this digital frustration, it's happening at the exact same time we're all feeling this much bigger pressure. You know that feeling? The sense that the whole system is just getting harder, that no matter how hard you try to save or get ahead, the goalposts just keep moving? Well, these two feelings are a lot more connected than you'd think.
Because look, this isn't just about a handful of glitches or, a few people struggling with their finances. This number, 800 million, that's how many people in Western democracies are right now in the middle of having their online privacy systematically dismantled. That scale, it's just staggering.
All right, so how is this being sold to us? Well, the justification is always the same, and it's a powerful one. It's all about protecting children. And that's an emotional argument that's really hard to disagree with, right? On the surface, at least. But we have got to look closer at the actual laws being passed under this banner.
And get this, it's not just happening in one country, not by a long shot. Just look at this list. We're talking 25 US states, the UK, the entire European Union, Australia. All of them are passing these incredibly similar child safety laws, all at the same time. And when you see a pattern that clear, it stops looking like a coincidence and starts looking a whole lot like coordination.
And some of these laws are, well, they're extreme. In Florida, you now need to show a government ID just to visit an adult website. In Tennessee, you have to re-verify your age every single hour. And Australia, they're talking about banning social media entirely for anyone under 16. But here's the crucial part. To enforce rules like these, you have to verify everyone's age, not just the kids.
And over in Europe, believe it or not, it gets even more extreme. They're trying to pass this law called chat control. Okay, what is that? It would create a system to scan every private message, every photo, every single file of all 450 million people in the EU. Yeah. Even your encrypted messages, on apps like WhatsApp, would be opened up and scanned. And this is all without any suspicion that you've done anything wrong. Let's just call it what it is. That is, by definition, mass surveillance.
Okay, so this brings us to the next really critical question. If they're building this massive machine for identification and surveillance, what does it actually do? What really happens to your data once you hand it over?
Just think about it for a second. If the goal was really just to keep kids off certain sites, why is the solution to make every single adult upload their government ID? It doesn't make sense. Things like online bullying, that doesn't just magically stop the day someone turns 18. This solution seems, it's wildly out of proportion to the problem they say they're solving.
So here's how it actually works. It's pretty simple. 1, you visit a website. 2, you verify who you are with your government ID. And 3, from that moment on, a permanent record is created. A log with your name, the websites you visit, timestamps of how long you were there, and it's all linked directly back to your official ID, permanently.
And this is where it gets truly disturbing. We in the West, we used to look at China's social credit system and be horrified, right? But just look at this comparison. We call it crime prevention. They call it social credit. But the methods? AI cameras, massive databases, constant tracking, they are identical. We are building the exact same infrastructure.
So you gotta ask, who is pushing for this? Who benefits from a world where our every single move is tracked and logged? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at the people who are actually writing the rules.
All right, let's look at the US. There is a massive conflict of interest here. A staggering 95% of the members of Congress, we're talking about the very people who are supposed to be regulating big tech and protecting our privacy, they personally own stock in those exact same companies. How can you possibly regulate an industry that you're financially invested in?
And you want to know the penalty if they get caught not disclosing their trades? A fine of just $200. That's it. They can make millions from their investments, and the punishment for breaking the rules is pocket change. It's an absolute joke.
And honestly, it goes even deeper. Every single year, these global elites, they meet in total secrecy at this thing called the Bilderberg Conference. No media allowed, completely private. And this year, who was there? The CEOs of the surveillance giant Palantir and Microsoft. And they're sitting at the same table as our top government officials, just carving out our digital future behind closed doors. Okay, so this leads us to the central point of this whole explainer. If this isn't really about safety, then what is it about? Well, the real motivation might not be about protecting us from the internet, but about protecting the system from us. Because if you look at history, when large groups of people face economic hardship, they get restless. And governments know that a population they can monitor is a population they can control.
Let's just look at the numbers for a second. The UN reports that 2.8 billion people, that's over a third of all of humanity, are right on the edge of poverty. There is this deep global economic instability just bubbling right beneath the surface.
And that massive number, it's not some abstract statistic, right? It's real people. It's a 35-year-old who can't even find a place to live. It's families that are working every possible minute and still just falling behind. For millions of people, that dream is slipping away.
I mean, in the US alone, credit card debt has just soared to over $1.3 trillion. Think about that. Nearly half of all households are carrying a balance month to month, with interest rates over 20%. People are literally using buy now, pay later apps just to buy groceries. This is a system that is under immense stress.
And people feel it. They feel trapped, like this person, right? They made this huge effort to conserve water, saved 500 gallons, and their bill went down by a whopping $2. Why? Because all the fees and taxes went up. When people feel like the game is rigged against them, they get angry. And governments know that a scared, angry population is an unpredictable one. So, after all of that, the most important question is, what can we do, right? It can feel pretty hopeless, I get it. But the fight is absolutely not over. There are real, concrete ways to push back.
Okay, so if you're in Europe, you can go to fightchatcontrol.com. You can contact your representatives right from there and tell them to vote no. And by the way, the last vote on this was actually delayed because of public pressure, so this stuff works. And for everyone everywhere, contact your local representatives. Join organizations like Fight for the Future. If enough of us speak up, they will have to listen.
You know, the internet was supposed to be this amazing tool for freedom, for liberation, for connection. But we're at a crossroads now, a really important one. Is it going to fulfill that promise, or is it going to become the ultimate tool of control? The choice we all make right now is going to decide that future.